Hello children, this is your teacher Azhar Khurshid, and today we are taking up a very important topic in business studies, and that is directing. Directing happens to be the fourth function of management. Previously we have planning as the first function, organizing as the second one, staffing as the third one, and then comes directing. Planning decides what to do, who will do it, when is it to be done. This all is decided in planning function of management. Then it's in papers only. Then we laid up the organizational structure. The organizational structure, formal or informal or divisional or functional, whatever, as per your suitability, you lay down. Then again, you have the right person recruited at the right place, right person at the right job, as per his capabilities. This means this all work is done. The stage is set. Now we are to start the things into action. What makes things start in action is directing itself. What is directing? As the definition says, directing is a managerial function which actually is a process of instructing, guiding, counseling, motivating people to do work, and then seeing to it that they do it to the best of their capabilities. This means on a closer examination of this particular definition, we'll come to know it's a managerial function, of course, but it's a process of instructing. That means telling people, instructing them what to do, how to start whatever has been laid up, how to start it. So everybody will come in action. So this means previously things were thinking functions like planning, organizing, staffing, they all were thinking functions. Now the time has come that we should start action. So in order to understand this particular function, let's see what are its features or characteristics. Number one, directing initiates action. Initiates action means that, say for example, the owner of the organization has set a target of 20% sales increase. Now this is a broader objective and it has to be translated by the sales department, the production department, the HR department, the finance department. That means every other department will come to action after you have the first action formulated. What is the action? What is the direction? 20% sales increase. This means the broader objective will come to the sub-objectives and it will be translated department-wise so that it should be attained. Number two, directing takes place at every level of organization. It's not that it's at the top only. At every level of organization, there is always directing going on because there is a superior subordinate relationship. Wherever there is a superior subordinate relationship, directing will naturally come into action because there will be some superior who will be directing the subordinate as how to do a particular work, which way he has to go. He'll be continuously instructing him, motivating him, bringing him up, guiding him at the same time. Directing is a continuous process, means that it does not stop. Throughout the life of an organization, directing continues to move. There will be managers coming and going. They'll be replaced. But managerial function of directing will move on. That is how the organization also will move on. Directing flows from top to bottom. Now this is very natural. You cannot say that it will be from bottom to top. No, direction has to come from upwards. Say for example, area sales manager will be giving directions to the sales manager of the department, then the departmental sales manager will be giving it to the assistant departmental sales manager, then to the executive department manager. This means that it will go on like this in a hierarchy. In a hierarchy it will move. It will move from top to bottom at every level. It is continuous, but it will move from top to bottom. So these were some of the characteristics. I'll repeat. Number 1, it initiates action. Number 2, that it takes place at every level of organization. Number 3, it's a continuous process. And number 4, that it flows from top to bottom. Now coming on to the next topic, what is its importance in management? Why do we need it that desperately in management? Number 1, directing initiates action, which I said already, because unless and until there is somebody to tell you to move, to start, you cannot start. There will be people, there will be places, there will be structures laid up, but there is nobody tell you how to go about it. So this particular thing will come only when there is directing function. Directing integrates employees. As I gave the example earlier, that the broader objective is 20% sales, increase in sales. This is the target. Now it will be translated into sub-objectives, and every department in their own departments, department-wise, will be following this objective only. So to meet the final goal, they have to move towards in individual ways, but the efforts are integrated. So it integrates the group efforts. Directing guides employees. A director has to guide. He doesn't have to give the orders only. There is nothing like order only. No. Sit down, guide, say, this is done the way you have done it, good. This is not the way you have done it, stop. So this means that somewhere the person who is the superior has to guide, has to instruct, has to motivate, has to try to bring up the energy levels of the subordinate to bring the performance to the desired levels. Directing facilitates implementing change. Now very, very important. Say for example, there is an old machine and it's a conventional one. We are used to work on it, we are operating it as workers. Every time we feel okay, we are settled, we are in our comfortable zones, but the organization wants to replace this. The new one is a bit technical one, but we resist it because we feel that we cannot do it. We are okay with the old one, we resist change. But if our director, the manager at the helm of affairs, will make us comfortable first, make us understand that there is no harm in understanding it. Let you get a training first, then only we will introduce it. This means that we'll be comfortable in handling that and will not resist it. It happened because of this comfort level which was instilled by our director, by the person who was our immediate boss or who was there to tell us what is it all about. This means that we won't resist change, but change has to come, and every time there has to be a director who will tell you that it has to be this way. Next, that effective directing helps to bring stability and balance in the organization. See, if you don't have effective directing, there will be no harmony. You will often feel that there are two different extremes in an organization working together. The employees or the workers just thinking of getting higher salaries every time, and the employers or the owners thinking of productivity, profitability, etc. This means our objectives are at cross sections. We are working at opposite ends. To bring this thing, the opposite thing at harmony, a director has to continuously, instill certain changes, certain motivations, certain incentives, certain plans, so that the employee is not dejected. The organization at the same time moves towards its objectives. So that means directing helps in bringing that balance, and it gives the stability to the organization. Moving on to the very, very important thing of directing itself, that is principles of management. Does it have any principles? Yes, we have to follow strictly these principles first. Number 1, unity of command. We've already discussed this, that unity of command means one boss for one work at one time. You cannot be instructing, guiding, counseling a person for same work. Many of you together, no, a production manager, a sales manager, line manager, all are giving orders to one person at the same time. You cannot do anything. You will surrender. This means that there has to be a unity of command. Directing will not give you any results unless and until you have this unity of command in action. Then maximum individual contribution means that everybody is different, but it's your work as a manager to take out that maximum from a person, because you know that this is his level and now he is not bringing himself to that level. I have to sit with him and regularly motivate him to bring him to that level. This means that individual contributions, if everybody contributes individually to the maximum of his ability, this means that our organization will be benefited. Appropriateness of the directing technique means that you have to see that there are people with different views about motivation. Say for example, I come to the office with a view of earning more, and my colleague comes to have more respect. He wants a job portfolio. This means that everybody has different thinking towards how he wants to excel in the life. So if you have the directing appropriateness, the technique appropriateness, you will actually find that person this way better, and you will use that technique only on him. Incentives will work somewhere, and somewhere incentives will not. Financial incentives will not work, something else will work. So you have to have a appropriateness of the directing technique. Then managerial communication, which is very, very important. It's not that you will say and it's over. No, it has to be very clearly stated. Clearly stated means that you should ensure before going ahead that everybody of them are understanding it the way you wanted them to understand. It's not that their own way, you wanted them to understand. This means that everybody should know, then only they will move ahead. Otherwise there will be a chaos. There will be different interpretations of the same thing. You have to clear. Don't go by your interpretations. I mean this, clear. So communication should be clear. Then use of informal organization. Friends, we know that there are formal organizations and informal organizations within the formal organizations. This means that there is something also at the same time simultaneously happening while we are working at different job positions. I am a friend of somebody and I like somebody, I dislike somebody. These are informal organizations. A manager as a director should know what are the informal organizations at the same time, because he has to spot them and use them. Say for example, I as a manager will move out with my subordinates for a lunch once in a month maybe, just to know them, just to have trust in them. They will also trust me. This means that at times I will get that informal organization working tapped up for myself, for my own benefits. Next is harmony of objectives. I said earlier also that there is always a discord going on, which may be at times visible and at times it's not visible, but it's always there, a cross section, cross thing. An employee coming to the organization for more salaries and an organization looking for more productivity and more profits. Now this has to be harmonized. You have to look for each other's gains at the same time. This is a mutual give and take. This is cooperation. This is not individualism. You cannot think of yourself only. You have to think of others also. Then comes leadership, which happens to be one of the elements of directing, which will be discussed later. But leadership is something which is as a soul of directing. Without leadership qualities in you, you cannot go ahead. Because every time you have to have a personality of a leader which will inspire the people around you. It will directly motivate them to move ahead, to do better. So leadership happens to be one of the principles of directing. And last but not the least, that is follow through, which I always stress that it's not that just to do, just to give them the orders, directions. No. follow through means whether this is happening or not. Make it sure that this is happening to the best of your capabilities. You are making move the people around you to the best of their capabilities, and then you are seeing to it that they do it. This is all about directing, its meaning, characteristics, importance, and the principles of directing. Next, we'll be coming up with the elements of directing. Thank you very much. Goodbye.